Hello and welcome to Mellow Labs. On today's episode, I'm making my very first desk. I say my first even though it's not really my first, but this is my first desk that I've made all by myself. All the other ones were made with me and my dad, but this one is all me, baby. And you get to enjoy all the highs and lows of me making this desk right after this message from my sponsor. JLCPCB. With 19 years of experience and 5 state-of-the-art factories, it's no wonder that over 5.4 million engineers across 180 plus countries rely on their reliable and affordable services. Getting started is easy. Simply upload your Gerber files, get an instant quote, and place your order within minutes. It's just that easy. Whether you're prototyping or producing in volume, JLCPCB offers unbeatable pricing with 1 to 8 layer PCBs starting from just $2. But it's not just affordability. JLCPCB delivers premium quality with lightning turnaround times. Your boards can be ready within as little as 24 hours. All thanks to their fully in-house production process, which ensures quality control at every stage. And right now, there's an exclusive offer where you can get 6-layer PCBs for just $5 with $30 off of your first order. If you're ready to take your electronic projects to the next level, visit JLCPCB. Right, so I've been trying to figure out what I want to do with my space here because this is a lot of space to like do all of the things I want to do, and this is going to be my soldering, my coding, my live streaming area, and it's a lot of space, and I'm excited because I can do all those things here. But trying to get the right layout for how I want things to look, I have no idea what I'm doing with the back. I'll get to that in the future. Originally, I wanted like a desk here that would be like my workshop desk where I'd be doing my soldering, my stuff like that. But then I realized for filming videos, it's kind of awful because I'm always shooting into it, and lighting's gonna be weird and my hands are gonna be in the way. And I realized what I like to have, even what I've had in my previous studios, is a desk where I can stand in front of and present to you. So really, I just want a big desk that's gonna go here. Now I've played around on paper, in Fusion, with different sizes and styles of desk, and here's what I've come up with. This is the new Mellow Labs desk. It's very big. It's a little intimidating for a person who doesn't do a lot of woodworking projects, but I've seen enough woodworking YouTube channels to think I know what I'm doing. Probably not, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. The whole thing is going to be standy-appy. It's going to be divided into zones. This is going to be the clean computer zone. This will be the main like presentee / box opening / soldery zone. And that is going to be mostly like storage for things I don't need on screen right now. So like soldering iron, power supply, microscope, stuff like that. Yeah. I did look online to see if I can buy something this big, and I can, just kind of expensive. So instead, I ordered £80 worth of plywood, the same plywood I used for my previous desk. So that's arriving tomorrow, and there ain't nothing to it but to do it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna be an amazing desk. So let's cut to me receiving wood. That sounds very wrong. Wood has been delivered. I'm a little more intimidated now that I see how like hard and thick this wood is. Giggity. I think I'm gonna start with by just picking which side looks the best, so I know which side to make the top of my desk. Honestly, all of these sides look fine, considering for the most part I'm just gonna get tea stains on it. Let's just do one of these. Jesus. Yeah, this side looks good. Let's go with that. Look at me being all prepared. I've got my measuring tape, my ruler. I've got a diagram of what the table needs to look like with dimensions, and I got my pencil. So let's get to doodling. Hey. Did you ever want to pick up a Mellow Labs smart mug but the price was a little too high? Well, right now I'm doing my first ever mug sale. It's 33% off, so if you want one, go grab one. Link in the description. I'm realizing that this is quite a lot of wood that has to be cut off. and I don't think I have the right tools for the job. I didn't realize this until now, but like every desk I've ever had, or like mostly ever had, was built with me and my dad. So this is kind of the first desk I'm building on my own, and I'm realizing I don't have any of the skills or tools that I need. The nearest hardware store from here is about 45-ish minutes by car. And I don't have a car. I do also have a jigsaw, but I don't think that's going to cut it, if you pardon the pun. I might see if I can reach out to a friend that lives about 2.5 hours away, see if he's willing to come down and help me. I'm not gonna put bets on it though. It is kind of a long drive. I'm missing my dad right now. Man always has a tool for everything. So I messaged my friend asking if he'd be willing to come down here and help me. After a short exchange, he politely declined, which is fine. I kind of expected that. But that now means that I either put this project on a very long back burner and deal with the desk that I have now, which I don't love. There's not enough space on it for the stuff I want to do. Or I use my very limited funds to buy something. I'm thinking at minimum I need like a circular saw to do some of the bigger cuts, and then maybe I can just do the rest with the very cheap jigsaw that I have. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'd love a router so I could like do the curves better, but that's not in the budget. If you can support me on Patreon, that would be nice. Please do. There's like a whole hour-long vlog of us moving, or like preparing to move, and then eventually moving, and then being here for like a few days. Yeah, if that's something that interests you, support me on Patreon, and you have access to all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna go and do some research on some very cheap tools, and get back to you when they arrive. I got a new toy. I got it off of Amazon. It cost me about £50. It comes with 2 different blades and it has a laser. Is it any good? I have absolutely no idea. I want to try it out. I'm not going to try it out on this wood yet. I'm going to try it out on my previous desk and just see if it cuts or if I should immediately get it refunded. Yep, it works. It's a little shit. I want to point out that my dad cheated when he did this the first time. His circular saw had a rail. That's why this bit was so smooth. First time round, not too bad. I would like to do the big chunks today, but I don't have enough time, honestly. I have things planned to do today. I was kind of just hoping to get comfortable with the saw, and I did. So I'll come back to those probably tomorrow. Okay, I keep procrastinating doing this. It's been like 3 days. Yes, I know I look like it's the same day, but these are my dedicated wood cutting clothes. I just have to cut them. I'm just nervous about doing it. Right. Let's go. Hi, I'm taking over because the audio after this part gets very
And I don't think you want to hear that. So here I am taking my wood out to the garden, and you'll notice that I now have a red pallet. I got this from a local shopkeeper who just let us adopt it for free. I figured it would be easier and safer if I cut the wood on this pallet on the floor rather than trying to balance that giant piece of wood on two wheelie bins. I was rewatching the footage of me cutting the first part, and my god, did that look unsafe. But yeah, so here I am, and I'm about to start cutting the bottom of the sheet. So there was an extra 10 centimeters of wood at the bottom of the sheet that I didn't need to be part of my desk. I probably could have kept it, but I decided to cut it off. But I decided to divide it into two 5 centimeter pieces because I thought, if I ever need a long but relatively small piece of wood for like putting up a shelf or something, it would just be nicer if it was already pre-cut than me having to cut a 10 centimeter piece of wood later on down the line. The first cut actually looks pretty good. It's nice and straight. The second one, however, yeah, that one got a bit curvier. It looks like I tried cutting it on the open sea. I don't know what happened. I did try going back and like fixing it a little bit, but the damage was already done. Luckily, most of the curviness was on the side that I was going to be getting rid of anyway, so I just proceeded to do the long cut towards where the curve will be. And the cut was actually going pretty well. I got it all the way down to the end. It looked pretty straight, and then I learned a very valuable lesson. Do not try to back out a circular saw whilst it's still spinning, because it was still spinning. I pulled it back and just ended up going back into the wood, and it just ended up giving me a nice big notch in the wood. Big sad. I tried sanding it off, but it's still there. And then it was time to get the jigsaw involved, so I gave it a new blade. I went nice and slow, and I started off by just doing a rough cut to get rid of the whole big chunk of wood that I no longer need. And that went pretty well. So then I went in for a nice close shave of the line, and I cannot tell you how, but that is the nicest curve I have ever cut with a jigsaw. To be fair, I've not cut a lot of curves with a jigsaw, but that is definitely my best one yet. Then I took one look at the larger curve that I needed to cut, and I realized that I drew so many lines over it that I had no idea which one I should follow. So instead of rubbing it out, I just made another line, but I kind of made it a little bit thicker so that I could tell which one it was. In honesty, I probably should have just rubbed it out and made one clear line to follow, because when I started cutting this, it kind of just ended up being a little bit wavy. I definitely went too slow because I overcorrected a whole crap ton. I ended up going in from the side first and then joining the curve because I wasn't convinced that I could join into the curve straight away. So I did that, and then I went in with the curve for the rest of the way, and that went pretty good. And then I just went back to cut off the other chunk. And honestly, it's not the greatest curve. You can definitely tell it's a little wobbly, but if you don't look at it too closely, it's just fine. And then it was time for everybody's favorite part, the sanding. Except my sander isn't great. I have one of these little shitty vibratory sanders, and it just kind of vibrated on the wood. It kind of just gets rid of the parts that have splinters on them. It doesn't actually like remove enough material to like get rid of mistakes. So probably something like a rotary sander would be a lot better for this, but I don't have one of those, and it's also not in the budget. So I just did the best I could with the equipment I had. I also had sandpaper from Lidl. I very much don't recommend that. I ended up going for like 5 sheets of sandpaper. It just disintegrates upon touching wood. I don't know what to say. Don't get discount sandpaper from Lidl. But I tried my best. I got rid of the parts that would give me splinters, and it kind of is a desk now. And after that, I dragged the wood upstairs for a little bit of a dry fit, and it actually looked really good. So good, in fact, that I kind of started reconsidering my original plan. So the plan was originally to add 2 pieces on top of each other so that I have extra rigidity, but also because they would be like, one sheet this way, one sheet that way, I would have an additional extension to the side that was going to be for like storage. But then actually looking at it in the space, I was like, you know what, I don't actually think I need that. I think it's going to get more in the way than be actually useful. So I went back downstairs. I decided that I'm not adding the extra piece of wood on top of it, which means I actually saved myself one giant piece of plywood, which I can use for future projects.
but I still need the desk to be a little more rigid. So annoyingly, FlexiSpot might not be coming back for another ad spot anytime soon. You guys didn't buy enough desks. It's all your fault. You should feel guilty. So I'm gonna have to use the 2 legs that I have. Ideally, I would need the L version that has 3 legs, but I'll just have to work with what I have. So I'll take the 2 legs, I'll spread them out as far as I can, but I'm still gonna need a little bit more rigidity, not enough to like sacrifice the second piece of wood, but enough to take the old desk that I used to have, kind of chop it up and use it as support for the ledge that's going to be less supported. So that's what I did. I grabbed my old piece of wood, I marked it, I cut it, and then I started screwing it in. And here is where we learn a second important lesson of woodworking. I had plenty of screws to screw these pieces of wood together. However, some of them were a little short, and my idea for making sure that they go all the way through was to just, press hard and drill them in through the first piece of wood so that they go and touch the second piece of wood. What I should have been doing is pre-drilling the holes, because what I actually ended up doing is just kind of burning a mark in the actual wood, and the screw would just spin in place and actually not grab anything. So don't do that. Also, if you do that, don't do the second stupid thing I did. I grabbed the screw on the drill and I pushed it all the way in, and I kept going, and then I was like, well, that's clearly not holding on. So I reversed it, pulled the screw out, and then grabbed it, not realizing that it's super fucking hot, and then burnt my fingers. So if you have 2 shorter screws, make a pilot hole first and deep enough for the head of the screw to go in, and then put the screw in so that it actually makes good contact. If it keeps spinning after you've gone as far as you can, that's too far and you're just burning a hole and wasting a screw. Pre-drill the hole and then put the screw in. Mellow's top tip for woodworking. And then I took my giant piece of wood with the second piece of wood screwed on top of it. Really, I should have just done this beforehand so I don't have to carry 2 giant pieces of wood outside, save myself some backache. I grabbed the big piece of wood, brought it outside, and then I cut the corners of the edge of the desk because I don't want to accidentally impale myself on the corner of the desk. So I rounded them off. I didn't do a great job. The first corner, kind of okay. Second corner, I definitely not my best work again. It's good enough so I don't accidentally impale my nutsack on it, but I wouldn't. That's a very vivid image, I'm sorry. Yeah, the corners have been cut in more ways than one. Then I grabbed a scrap piece of wood, cut it down to size to put on the other end of the table, because where I'll be attaching the legs, I don't want the legs to be, attached lopsided, so I needed pieces of wood on both sides. And yeah, I screwed that in. This time I did pre-drill the holes and used big enough screws. And then I picked up the giant, even heavier piece of wood and put it on the concrete. And without realizing that it's a lot heavier, and I kind of dropped it at the very end because it was very heavy and difficult to hold, I kind of scuffed it and kind of had a notch be ripped out of it. Luckily, it was on the underside of the table, so I won't be able to see it. But boy, was I mad at myself about it, because if that was the front, I would never let myself live that down. And then that was kind of it. I brought up the very, very heavy piece of wood all the way upstairs by myself. I really should have asked a friend, but I don't have any. So yeah, now the giant piece of wood is upstairs and it's time for me to assemble my desk together, except it was time for my live stream. So if you want to see me spend about 2 hours putting together my desk, you can watch that over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Mellow Labs. Look at that, me putting my desk together. Look at that, amazing, right? Sometimes I do exciting things and sometimes I put my desk together. Oh, hold on, I've got a message coming in. Oh, Thomas is ready to pick up where we left off. Surprise, the desk is already set up. I did that during yesterday's Twitch live stream because I was just too excited to, hold on. So I put it all together. I've got my keyboard, my computer set up here, and I've got so much room for future projects. There's just I've never had this much space to work on projects. It's going to be so much easier to film and everything. I'm probably going to have like a top-down camera at some point. I'm so excited. There's still a lot to be done. The background is entirely empty and I have no idea what to do with it. The Patreon plaques have to go somewhere. This stuff has to go somewhere. I don't really like the trolleys anymore. I've really outgrown them, but I'm in denial about it. So really I need some kind of surface area so I can put tools and stuff on it. But that's for a future episode. I'm just happy. This is so much desk space. Also, apparently I've been told I should probably like varnish the top of this somehow. I kind of just like the plain raw wood feel, but let me know what you think down in the description below. Down in the description below, I mean down in the comments, of course. I still need to set up my power supply and my heat gun and my soldering iron and stuff like that. So there's still a lot to be done, but I'm honestly just happy with how much desk space I have. And honestly, the fact that I'm only using 2 of the legs actually seems to be pretty good. I'm kind of glad I didn't go for the extra chunk of wood here, mostly because like I don't think I would actually use it as much as I thought I would. It would just kind of get in the way of me walking in and out of this office corner. But yeah, there's still a lot to be done, so I'm going to leave this episode there. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Support me on Patreon if you can. I would very much appreciate that. And I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye. That was the first outro on this desk.